Alright, so we have the board all built, which is great, and now we need to start having the possibility of adding marks to it. So let's create some add mark method. So let's go like this. We're going to add a mark. The add mark is going to look at the row, the column, the mark, and the board. If the board of R and C is blank, then we are going to be able to put in a board, and the board is going to then look at the R and C that we're looking at, and that is going to equal the mark that we're going to put in. That will return true, showing that that has occurred, and we want to make sure that it's a capitalized true. Otherwise, it's going to return false. So that means that there is something inside there. So what it's looking for is no mark. If there's no mark, it's going to allow us to make a mark. If it's able to make a mark, it's going to return true. Otherwise, it's going to not allow us to make a mark, and it's going to return false. So now we're going to go inside of our actual game, and we're going to start building out the logic that's going to go inside of the tic-tac-toe game. So our first mark is going to be the letter A. Okay, we're going to have A's and B's, and we'll eventually have Q's. Q is going to mean that we're going to quit. So we're going to have welcome to the tic-tac-toe game. We're going to have a nice while loop that is going to look at if the mark, so while mark does not equal to Q. Remember I said Q is going to be how we quit? Well, there we go. Now we understand that we're going to be looking for Q to stop. So we're going to be looking for if we have good values. So if good value is false, so while not good value, we're going to print an empty string. Oh, we're going to print an empty string. And then we're going to have a row, and it's going to equal int input. And then we're going to be looking for the row that we want to have. So that row is going to be R minus 1. So if I put in row 1, it's going to be actually 0. If I put in row 2, it's going to be 1, and then if I put in row 3, it's going to be 2. Because people don't really understand how Python actually works, and this is for the basic user. And we're going to then print an empty string. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this just so you guys can see that it's working. So while tic-tac-toe game, I'm going to put in 1, and I'll put in 3. 1, 3, 2, 0. So we're still able to keep on going, and it's going to allow us to keep on putting in the values that we actually want. All right, so now if not 0 R and it's less than or equal to 2, and 0 less than or equal to C less than or equal to 2, we're then going to print hey, there is not a row or column with that number. Must be 1, 2, or 3. Elif not add underscore mark, and then we're going to have RC mark board print. There was already a mark there. Pick a new place. Else, we had good values. And then we're going to print underscore TTT, and we're going to print the board again. Okay, so it looks like I'm getting some invalid syntax. So I'm going to save. I'm going to run. So I'm just going to close this off. So I just had some invalid syntax there with the spacing that I had, which is fine. So this is what it looks like now. I added in all of this information all the way to down there, so 31 through 48. I'm going to run it again. So I'm going to put in row 2 and then row 1. Whoa, look at that. So I'm going to put in row 3 and row 0. It still worked. I wonder why it allowed us to do that. So let's try 0, 0. Okay. So let's try negative 1, negative 1. So it looks like we're having some malfunctioning happening with the way that this is working. But for right now, it's still showing up. So I'm happy with it. So I'm going to save because that's going to be checked out later. So what I've created is I created an add mark, and then I used add mark within my tic-tac-toe board logic. Why are we using the mark A, and why are we looking for if it's not Q? If you guys could answer those two questions in this next discussion section for the assignment 2.